Hello, welcome back to Beauty Bee and to my third monthly update for my Project Pan 2021. My goal with this project is to use up some older items as well as get some good usage on some newer items. There are, I believe, 5 items that came into my collection in the calendar year 2020 that I would like to hit some usage goals on. Those generally correlate roughly to using half of the product. I will link the playlist if you are interested in following this project from the very beginning, or if you want any more insight into any particular rules I might have. But otherwise, let's just start with face, which is the least exciting category I have this month. The first item in this category is this Kat Von D Locket powder sample. This came from Sephora in the birthday gift, I believe, 2 years ago. And I have made actually a little bit of progress this month. I don't know if it's really worth remarking, but I have made it down to here. I was up here at the beginning of this project, which was about 3 months ago. I've definitely been doing better about using powder the last month. I've probably been using it 2 to 3 times a week on my nose and my chin. And if I've happened to use under eye concealer, I will use it there as well. I think I say this in pretty much every update, but I think this will go quite a bit faster once it starts to get a little bit warmer out. My skin will be a little bit more oily and I'll just have more of a need for powder. So hopefully over the summer I can finish this one off and move it out of project. And I don't know if I said that, but my goal is to finish off that powder. My goal is also to finish up this Tarte blush. Now I actually had to repress it this month, so it's looking very different than the last time you saw it. I don't know if it comes off very well on camera, but I, in real life, can see most of the rings in the pan through the product, and you can see I've already hit pan in my repressed version, actually in 2 spots. I've got pan here, and I've got a tiny little baby pan up here. It's pretty thin throughout. I think it's kicking up a little bit more powder. It's certainly less tightly pressed than it was in its original form, and I think that's caused me to go through it a little bit faster. I still don't know if I can finish it this year, but I think I have a much better chance now than I would have if I'd never dropped this blush and broken it into approximately 47 pieces. Now, the last face product we have is in some really obnoxious packaging, so apologies in advance if I blind you. This is the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Highlighting Palette, and my goal is just to hit pan in one of these 4 shades, and I am almost certain that it will be this white. I will absolutely put some pictures at the end of this section so you can make your own judgments about how much progress I've been making, but I think there is definitely more wear visible on the white, and I can also start to see some visible wear on the pink, which I almost always, if I'm wearing the pink, will mix in a little bit of the white. So I think I might not actually be too far away from hitting pan up in this upper right corner. Next up, let's move to lips. I have 2 items that are currently with me and in this project. I previously finished up 2 others, a tinted lip balm from ColourPop and a gloss from Wet n Wild, and one is at my apartment. So hopefully I will be getting back there in the next month and I can start to make some progress on the items that have been trapped there. Now, as for the lip products that I actually have made some progress on this month, first we have this NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream in can. I have used this quite a few times this month. I would probably say I've used it 6 or 7 times. I haven't noticed any real change. I still have to dip in about 4 times to cover my lips. It's actually what I'm wearing today, and I have no idea when this is going to be over. I wish I could measure progress on it, but unfortunately I think it's just going to run out or take me, 6 or 7 dips someday and I'll just give up. The second lip product that I actually have with me is this Revlon Super Lustrous Lipstick in the shade Secret Club. Here it is, rolled all the way up. I haven't worn this quite as much this month as I did last month. Last month I was doing a really good job of kind of switching over to that lipstick if I, was wearing something a little brighter or something a little bit higher maintenance in the morning and just didn't feel like keeping up with it anymore. This month it's been more just wearing it by itself the whole day. So as far as progress goes, last month I was at this line and now we are down to here. I have no idea how people make these sheets without getting lipstick on it. Teach me your ways. But I think you can tell I made less progress this month than I did last month, but I made about the same amount as I did the first month. And overall, I'm about halfway to goal. My goal is to get the middle part of this angle down to this pink dotted line. So I'm around halfway. I have 10 months to go, 3 months down. I think this should be achievable. So that's it for lips. Now moving on to my little miscellaneous category where I don't have anything to show you. I had 4 items originally in this category. 1 is at my apartment, 2 were already finished, and the last one I didn't think to keep around because for some reason I really thought that I'd finished it in last month's update. But here's a picture of it. It's the Bath & Body Works Rollerball in Japanese Cherry Blossom. I used it up, I think, like a day or 2 after I filmed the last update. It was very, very close to the end at that point. Now, I really enjoyed that product. However, it was at least 8 years old and it was just time for it to go. It had lived a good life, mostly sitting in a purse forgotten for 6 or 7 years, but we choose to remember the good times, and it still did smell really good. It was definitely not as strong as it once had been, and it definitely won't last as long as it once had, but I did really enjoy being able to use it for the maybe 2 months that I had it back in my life. So we're getting very close to finishing off that miscellaneous category, and I think that next month I will likely roll in some new items just across this project, but especially focusing in that category because I do want to have some variety in this project and not just get down to, 4 or 5 products that won't die by June and then me just chugging along on those for another 6 months. That doesn't sound that fun. Another category where things are starting to get a little bit sparse are nails. I had 4 nail polishes originally in this project. 3 are minis that I want to finish up, and 1 is a full size that I want to use about half of. I've already finished off 1 of the minis. 1 of the minis is at my apartment, and today I have a second empty. This actually looks very full. It is not. It is at least down here, and I see some windowing in the product all the way down to about here. So I can no longer paint a nail in any kind of efficient way with this, so it's time for it to go. I do like this color. I don't love it. I have no great desire to replace this kind of shade. This is just a little no-name polish that came from Ulta in a little 4-pack, and I can't say that I really have any strong feelings about it being gone, but I am glad to be down 1 more item in this project. And for the last nail item, we have the full-size polish that I mentioned earlier. This is one of the Wet n Wild Fast Dry nail polishes. I believe they have since come out with a new line that's like Fast Dry AF or something. I did use this a couple times this month, however, I think I shook it around just a little bit too much as I was getting ready to film this video, so I can't actually see my progress anymore. I previously was up here. I want to say that I'm probably right around here now, so not much lower, but definitely progress was made. I was more focused on finishing off this nail polish this month, but this is the only polish that I currently have with me that I'm working on, so I suspect it will get a lot of use this month, and hopefully I will have a lot of progress to show next time around. And now for the last category, which is eyeshadow. The new item in this category is my NYX Ultimate Utopia palette. I have the little 16-pan version. They also have a much larger version that I believe is 40 pans and a smaller 6-pan version. So I have the medium size one. And here's what this is currently looking like. My goal is to hit pan in these 4 shades, and I think you can tell that I'm actually getting pretty close in this green. I think that I might actually be able to hit pan on that in the next month. I've really been loving this shade. It's what I'm wearing today largely. I've layered it over a blue that I'm working on in a different project, and I think it's really pretty. I've also made some progress on this sort of sage green shade. I'm starting to see the tiniest little bit of a dent in that shade. This blue definitely has some wear as well, though not as much as the green. And the purple, I've used it a few times. I'm actually wearing it today under the eyes. I just use so little of it each time that it's hard to see any progress. So I suspect that if there is one of these shades that's around till the very end of the project, it will almost certainly be this purple. I also am working on a few eyeshadows in this project that aren't here with me right now, but I have one more to show you that I have had with me this whole time and been working on. This is my Wet n Wild Rosé in the Air palette. I am working on this transition shade, and I think you can see there is a huge amount of pan. However, it's just a giant shadow, so I still have, I think, a little bit more than half of the product left. I tend to use this in my brows. Sometimes I'll use it as a transition shade, which is how it, I was going to say it is labeled, but I've really worn away the label. I really like this shade. It's just a very utilitarian option for me. I also, in this project, had worked on this cream, which I finished off last month. And then this month, my goal was to finish off this gold, and I think you can tell it is gone. There's a tiny, tiny bit stuck to the corners, but I've tried attacking that with a brush and I can't get to it. So I'm just calling it good. I'm super happy to have one more eyeshadow down. I think that probably the next shade that I'll hit goal on in this category is that mint from the Ultimate Utopia palette, but I'm hoping that this transition shade will not be too far behind. Because I use an angled brush, I can't not get too much product. I always pick up quite a bit of powder, and because of that, I think it goes pretty quickly. Okay, so that is my update. I think I made some pretty good progress this month. I hit goal on 3 items, and I think goal on a couple more items is within sight in the next month. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've been enjoying this project and that you will come back next month to see if I have indeed met any more goals. Please consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye!